This is a pack of TYONIT magnetic USB-C 40 gigabits per second adapter. It's a 2-pack. I received these from Amazon Vine Voice Review Program to review for free, but I have not been paid for my review, and my opinions are my own. So what these are for is you plug one end into your laptop or cell phone and you leave it plugged in all the time, and then the other end you attach to a cable. And so whenever you come up, you just snap it together, and it's basically like plugging your cable in, but easier. So it's basically kind of a magsafe connector for anything with a USB-C port. So these guys are advertised to do 100 watts USB-C power delivery, and so I'm going to test that to make sure they're rated for what they say they are, and then I'm going to give them a shot on my laptop. Okay, this cable and source are putting 93 watts into charging that load, so we are going to replace the end of this guy with this thing here. So that plugs in there. This guy plugs in there, and now it's doing power negotiation. We're at 40 watts and climbing. Okay, it's going 19.18 volts, 4.849 amps, 92, almost 93 watts are going through there. So this guy here is not limiting the charging at all. I'm going to leave it for about 10 minutes and then we'll check it with a thermal camera and see if it's getting warm. Okay, I've been putting 100 watts through this guy, and you can see, you know, the cable has power going through it, and so it's getting, you know, 22 centigrade. My USB power meters at 29-30 centigrade, and then, you know, this charger here is, you know, up in the 24 range. But the largest source of heat is this guy right here, and it's up at, you know, 49-50 centigrade. And so when I reach and hold that, that is warm to the touch, almost hot. It's uncomfortable to leave my fingers on there for longer than about 4 or 5 seconds. So I believe this is the high resistance point of this whole connection. Now there is some power or heat coming from the charger, and you know that might come back, but I think here that the resistance in this connector is what's causing that heat. So I don't know, I don't recommend using this for long periods of time at 100 watts. I'm going to try it on my laptop at a smaller rate. Now this is designed to stay permanently in your USB port, but if you have a tight USB port, it can be tricky to get out. I'm having to get my fingernails, which are unfortunately a little short right now, and a small screwdriver here. And this USB port is very new. I haven't really used it a lot. There, I got it out. So, you know, be prepared with a pair of little tiny pliers or screwdrivers or long fingernails to really have to pry this guy out when you want it out. It's not supposed to come out. It's supposed to stay in pretty much permanently. But, you know, be prepared to have to pry on it a little bit to get it out if you have a regular USB port that's not loose. So I've plugged the small end into my phone here. You can see it just barely sticks out from my case, and when you plug the cable in, it just snaps and attaches there. And now my phone is connected to my laptop. So we're going to do a data transfer test here. Alright, I have a 658 megabyte file here. It's a video on my phone. I'm going to copy that to my computer here. And so it is copying right now. And the speed is 21 megabytes a second. So it has about 12 seconds remaining. Looks like the average speed here is about 21 megabytes a second. So now I am going to remove this adapter from my phone, plug my phone in directly with just the regular USB cable I'm using. To prevent any caching effects, I'm grabbing the second smallest file, which is 480 megabytes here, and we are going to copy that across now using the cable that I normally use. So So it's copying, and the speed is the same. It's basically 21 megabytes per second. So this adapter, I don't know if I've tested the maximum throughput, but it does not reduce the throughput of the cable I normally use at all. Alright, my laptop is now charging its battery, and it's drawing 48, almost 50 watts of power here. So, you know, just a laptop charging, you know, if it has a 65 watt adapter, can draw, you know, 50 watts to charge its battery. So we're going to let that sit for 10 minutes and see how hot it gets. I just plugged this into my laptop. The laptop's drawing 39 watts right now. You can see here that, you know, it's 23 degrees centigrade. It's no hotter than my USB power monitoring device, and the laptop itself is, you know, relatively warm underneath there. So just plugged in, it's not heating up super fast. We'll check it in 10 minutes. All right, my laptop has been charging for at least 10 minutes on this guy. My laptop's getting close to being charged, so the watt draw has dropped down to 21 watts now. And this guy is really not very warm. So, you know, if you look at this, it's 25, 27 centigrade, and my hand is 28 centigrade. So it is not warm to the touch. So I think, you know, doing 40 or 20 watts through this guy is not a problem, but you can expect it maybe gets a little bit warmer there when you do the full 100 watts through it. So I think for a laptop that has a 45 or 65 watt USB-C charger, you know, you're probably not going to have any problems. Just, you know, feel it a little bit on the first time you use it to make sure the resistance isn't too much to where it's making a lot of heat. Yeah, I really like this guy. I verified it doesn't reduce my data transfer rate. It'll transfer 20 to 40 watts without any real heat issues. The temptation is great to buy about 15 or 20 of these and just put them on every USB-C device and every USB-C cable I own, so that I can just pop that thing on and just, you know, hook a cable to a device, take a cable off a device really easily. Right now I'm using it on my laptop, and so the laptop has its own cable that I pretty much only use that cable with that laptop, so I just take it off when I'm taking the laptop away to work somewhere else and then put it back on. I could see this also being really useful for a kid. The USB-C connector is pretty nice because the kid can't put it in backwards, but the magnetic connection is even easier for a kid to use, especially a toddler who doesn't have a lot of the fine motor skills. They just have to get that somewhere nearby and it'll connect. And to take it off, they can yank it apart, and it's okay because it's meant to be yanked apart. So I think a real win for this would be on a toddler's device. You want them to be able to plug in the charge on their own.